Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into one of the most mind-bending ideas out there, pulled from Michael Talbot's incredible book, The Holographic Universe. Seriously, get ready because this is going to challenge pretty much everything you think you know about what's real. And that quote right there, it gets right to the heart of it. The book's core claim is that this solid world all around you, the chair you're sitting on, the very screen you're looking at, might just be a really sophisticated illusion, a projection, kind of like a hologram. So, how are we going to unpack an idea this big? Well, we're going to follow the breadcrumbs, step by step. We'll meet the scientists who came up with it, look at the strange puzzles in both the brain and the universe that got them thinking, and then explore what all this could mean for our everyday lives. All right, so who even comes up with an idea this wild? Let's meet the two brilliant minds who architected this whole thing. And here's what's so wild. The guys behind this, David Bohm and Karl Pribram, they came from totally different worlds. Bohm was a physicist, a student of Einstein, obsessed with the universe. And Pribram, a neurophysiologist, focused on the human brain. They were working completely separately, yet somehow they both landed on the exact same, startling conclusion. Our story actually starts not out in the cosmos, but right here, inside our own heads, with a simple question that a neurophysiologist named Karl Pribram just couldn't solve. For decades, scientists were on this hunt for what they called engrams. The idea was that every single memory you have must have a specific spot, a little filing cabinet, somewhere in the brain. But a surgeon named Karl Lashley spent 30 years searching for them and found that this idea was just plain wrong. Think about this. Lashley could take out huge chunks of an animal's brain, but it could never ever erase one specific memory. Sure, the memory might get a little fuzzier, a little less sharp, but it was still there, somehow spread across the entire brain. This mystery is what led Karl Pribram to his aha moment, and it came from the invention of the hologram. Okay, so what's a hologram? We all kind of know it's a 3D picture, right? But it's way more than just a cool party trick. The real secret is in how it stores information, and that weird property makes it the perfect model for how memory might actually work. So this is the key. If you take a piece of holographic film and you cut it in half, each half doesn't just contain half the image, it contains the entire image. You cut it again into tiny little pieces, and each piece still has the whole picture, just a bit blurrier. For Pribram, this was like a lightning bolt. What if the brain doesn't store memories in one spot? What if it stores them everywhere at once, just like a hologram? Okay, let's put a pin in the brain for a second and switch over to the other half of this puzzle. Because at the exact same time, physicist David Bohm was wrestling with an even bigger mystery, the universe itself.
See, Bohm was looking at quantum physics, and something just wasn't sitting right with him. You had these tiny particles that, once they were connected, seemed to talk to each other. Instantly, no matter how far apart they were. We're talking across a room or across the galaxy, it didn't matter. Standard physics had no answer for this.
So Bohm came up with this incredible idea. He said, what if there's a deeper, hidden level of reality? He called it the implicate order, where everything is all interconnected and folded up together. And our world, the one we see and touch, is the explicate order. It's what unfolds out of that deeper reality. He even had a name for this constant unfolding and enfolding, the hollow movement. And this is where it all comes together. Pribram's idea of a holographic brain and Bohm's idea of a holographic universe, they click together perfectly to form one single, unified theory that changes, well, everything. So here's the synthesis. The theory goes that our brains aren't just passive observers watching a movie called reality. Nope. They are active participants. They're taking in this vast, buzzing ocean of frequencies that's all around us and mathematically constructing the world we experience. So stop and think about that for a second. The so-called objective reality we all take for granted, the hardness of a rock, the warmth of the sun, that stuff doesn't really exist out there in the way we think it does. It's a co-creation, a beautiful illusion of solidity that our brain builds for us out of this holographic blur. Okay, so this is a cool theory, but does it actually explain anything in the real world? Well, yeah. If this model is true, it might just be the key to understanding phenomena that mainstream science has a really hard time with. especially the unbelievable power of the mind over the body. Just check out this basketball study. It's wild. They took 3 groups. One group physically practiced shooting free throws every day and got 24% better. Another group didn't practice at all, and, no surprise, they didn't improve. But get this, a third group didn't touch a basketball. They only visualized making perfect shots, and they improved by 23%. Their thoughts directly translated into physical skill. And here's a perfect example of that holographic idea in our own bodies. You know how acupuncturists have a map of the entire body just on the ear? Well, a study found they could diagnose 40 different health problems with over 75% accuracy just by looking at those points in the ear. Why? Because it's a hologram. The whole is reflected in the part. But maybe the most powerful and honestly tragic example is the story of Mr. Wright. The man had advanced cancer. His doctor gave him a new wonder drug, and his tumors, they melted like snowballs. He was doing great. Then he read a report that the drug was useless, and his cancer came roaring back. So his doctor, trying something radical, told him he had a new super potent version of the drug and injected him with just water, a placebo. And again, he recovered. But then, an official medical report came out confirming the drug was worthless. Wright's faith was completely shattered, and he died just 2 days later. His belief was the active ingredient all along.
So, where does all this leave us? I mean, if you even begin to accept this model, it just shatters our most fundamental ideas about what's real and what isn't. It forces us to ask some really deep questions.
If our physical world is a projection, and our minds are the projector, then what does that say about our thoughts, our hopes, our fears? Are we constantly, actively shaping the world around us with our consciousness, moment by moment, in ways we've never even dreamed of?
And just listen to that quote. I mean, it flips our entire view of existence completely upside down. We all just assume that the brain, this 3-pound organ, creates consciousness. But what if it's the other way around? What if consciousness is fundamental, and it's the thing that creates the appearance of a brain? Ultimately, this whole holographic universe idea, it's not just some weird physics theory. It's an invitation. It's an invitation to explore a much larger, more interconnected reality, and to recognize that we might just be co-creators of our world with a power we are only just beginning to understand. Maybe the biggest adventure isn't exploring outer space, but learning to navigate the infinity within us.